So let's go over dating in the modern age for men in particular, because I grew up a man. So maybe what I say will relate to the men out there, or at least certain men. Now, first and foremost, before you even think about getting in a relationship and spending your time and energy with another human being, in this case, a woman, this can relate to whatever, but specifically from my perspective, I'm talking about having a relationship with a woman. You need to be real with yourself. And when I say be real with yourself, understand where you are at mentally, internally, emotionally. What type of traumas are you dealing with? Why do you feel the need to be with somebody else so bad? We have to really break that down and take the time to really get to understand ourselves, because a lot of us in this society may have not have had parents that stuck together. You may have witnessed multiple divorces. You may have witnessed growing up seeing a toxic relationship or two as a child. And when stuff like that happens, the media and society doesn't help at all. Other people doesn't really help at all. But it becomes normalized to the point where you subconsciously just think that's how relationships are supposed to be, depending on your environment, how you grew up. And it shouldn't be that way if we want to be real with ourselves. Like the media, society, TV, people in general, social media, they normalize toxicity in relationships. They normalize being overly attached to somebody, checking their phones, being worried about who they're talking to. And they don't emphasize how you should trust your partner, how you should more than anything trust yourself in order for the relationship to work. So the number one thing you want to do as a man is master yourself. Put in the internal work. Be real about your traumas and do the shadow work necessary so you can evolve and learn from the lessons that you went through in life. See, me personally, I witnessed between both of my parents about 4 divorces. So I never saw a successful marriage or relationship between either of my parents. However, I took the accountability to learn from those lessons and strategically utilize it for my own relationships, knowing that, you know, there's a lesson in everything. There's something I can garner from what my parents went through that I can learn from and not make the same moves or the same mistakes. We really need to, before we get into a relationship with somebody or try to go deeper with somebody, we really need to do that internal mental decluttering. We have to program ourselves or reprogram ourselves for success. A lot of people overlook that and then wonder why they can't find a successful relationship. Your external reality, everybody that you attract into your life is a reflection of you internally. You are synchronizing with people for a reason. Life is like a magnet. You attract what you resonate with one way or another. So this is why you need to become the greatest version of yourself as much as possible. And the foundation of that is going to be internally. There's a lot of attention and emphasis on men being materially successful and wealthy, which is important because we do have to navigate this material realm. But the foundation of it all has to be you mastering yourself and being rich in spirit internally in order to be successful in the first place. Because somebody can have $1,000,000, but they can be messed up within themselves and they're really not fulfilled. They can't find a decent relationship. They have certain troubles outside of finances, socially, whatever that may be, because it's a lot that goes on into this game called life. And the number one thing, the number one rule to the game is to master yourself internally. Because, like I just mentioned, say that you do garner all the material success that you can imagine. What good is it if you're still not right within, if you're still depressed, if you're still sad, if you're not truly fulfilled? So it's better to establish that foundation within yourself to where you're fulfilled before you even garner or even emphasize the material success. So you got to take accountability and you have to master yourself before even getting into a relationship with a woman. And the accountability aspect also comes down to who did you deal with in previous interactions with women? What did you learn from that? Are you just blaming them for being crazy, or are you not taking the accountability to why you attracted that person to begin with? Or what you could have done better in that previous experience to evolve and enhance yourself as a man? Everything we go through in life is supposed to be a lesson, good or bad. It's like watching game film as an athlete. You can go back in your mind and make adjustments and learn from, okay, I stepped this way. Maybe next time I'll step that way. And also forgive yourself, because nobody's perfect. But we got to take accountability and we have to focus on mastering ourselves. And then with that, see, there's a law of gender, there's a law of polarity, there's masculine and feminine. So that's another dynamic that gets overlooked. That's really what gender roles come from. And I'm talking about this because we're talking about dealing with women, how to establish a good relationship in the modern era. So everybody within themselves both have masculine and feminine energies within them. Men typically will have more masculine, and women will typically have more feminine. Now, you can obviously see the spectrums. I'm not going to go too deep into that, but from a basic typical level, that's what it is. Masculine is the more so aggressive, go out there and get it, um, put in the work, strong, active, that type of energy, that aggressive type of energy. Feminine energy is more passive, more nurturing, more sit back and relax, more stay home and handle the fort type of scenario on a very basic level. We have to, and it also goes back to biology, but we really have to learn how to break that down. This is beyond gender roles to an extent, because I don't want people to get too caught up, because yeah, gender roles to an extent is a social construct, but it's definitely it's stapled in the foundation of the masculine and feminine energy. So we have to learn to, as men, understand the feminine, understand how women work. And a lot of it goes back to biology. I'll keep it short and brief. I'll go into another video with that maybe another time, but I'll answer this one question. The reason why a lot of women like the bad guys and they don't like the good guys so much, as people would say, is because the bad guy displays traits of masculinity, of protection, toughness, grit, not caring what everybody else thinks, not needing validation, being comfortable in your own skin, even a certain level of stoicism and composure. Those are the traits that you want to master within yourself in order to attract women. In order to attract women, you can't need them so much. You have to be okay with or without them. You have to be okay by yourself. The more needy you are, the more you're going to turn people off in general. So you don't want to have that needy energy when dealing with anybody, including women. So you want to get that on point. It's really not folding into the pressures of society and being all right with who you are while taking accountability, but not going out your way to garner the approval of others. Be yourself authentically and go from there. And then you also have to be okay with filtering certain women and having your own standards. See, a lot of people, a lot of men, when they're chasing women, they're going out their way to garner their approval. They're going out their way to prove themselves to them, to 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 peacock, so to speak, for the woman. When you need to have a certain dynamic to where you are picking and choosing, and you're not afraid to reject certain women. You're conversing with them to see if they qualify for your life, as opposed to the other way around. You have to have standards. Don't just get with any woman just because they're attractive. Like, have some standards, have some principles, and then stick by them. There's a reason why there's a lot of people with these terrible exes and these terrible baby mamas and things of that nature. They didn't take accountability and they didn't have the highest standards. And whoever you deal with at the end of the day is going to be on you. So you have to really be okay with that and take accountability and live and learn from your mistakes and really do your best moving forward to filter out the appropriate and proper women, because that's going to be the number one most important decision. If not, it's definitely one of the most important decisions that you can make as a man is the woman that you choose to engage with. It can make or break you. So try not to get attached to the wrong woman. And with that, your purpose is going to come first. Don't let a woman override your purpose, because the most attractive men have stuff going on for them. They have a purpose in life. They have a mission. If you're just laying around cuddling or watching Netflix all day and you're not really on shit, that's going to be one of the fastest ways for you to turn the woman off or bring your relationship into shambles. You want to have a life outside of women. You want to have your own thing going on, and you want to have a purpose. You want to have a mission in life, and you want to be focused on that on a day by day, hour by hour, second by second basis. Obviously, you balance time with your people, who's important to you. But when you wake up in the morning, your purpose should be number one. And as we keep growing, you want to keep evolving. You want to keep evolving. You don't want to be the same person that you were yesterday. You don't want to be the same person you were last year. You always want to be growing and going through your own evolution. Doing stuff like that by itself, you will be surprised. It will attract the correct type of women into your life. Doing that alone, trust me, it's not something that you want to force. Like, people, if you want to go outside and cold approach and things of that nature, go ahead. But you want to make sure your foundation internally is on point more than anything else. And your discernment with women will clear up. You'll notice the women just come into your aura, into your reality, and things will happen naturally. We are in an era where women get to pick and choose a little bit more because of Instagram, especially the more attractive she is. If she's on social media a lot, somebody from freaking Dubai or wherever can DM her or fly her out. So we're dealing with that. But you don't want to necessarily think of yourself as being in competition with those type of guys. You want to be in competition with yourself. Trust me, if you master yourself, the right woman will come into your aura. It's just going to be up to you to put in that internal work and then have that discernment. And then not being afraid to move on and leave if the situation doesn't work out. Because that's another thing that'll mess a guy up if he stays in the one particular situation way too long. So it comes down to self-respect. That's what really all this comes down to, is taking the time to master yourself internally and having the self-respect to pick and choose who you want to engage with and give your energy to. So, I mean, that's the gist of it. I'll go on more details in other videos. If you stayed this long, I appreciate you. Feel free to comment, ask questions below. And We'll go from there. I am a personal trainer. I'm also a mindset coach. And all my links and descriptions will be in the bio. And peace, man. Y'all have a good day. Self-mastery will always be key. Master yourself. Everything else will take care of itself.